Human advancement knows no boundary. But this has not been without its price. Though we stand at the height of prosperity, we need only look to the past to remember that nature is a power that cannot be ignored. Consuming even the mightiest empires and causing the greatest among us to tremble in her fury. Yet from adversity, the human spirit endures, finding ways to coexist with the earth. Or bend it to our cause. Pursuing a course beyond distant horizons and revealing paths both towards innovation and unintended catastrophe. Our survival necessitates new solutions to old problems. To ensure a future, both for ourselves and generations to come. United in purpose, we must now look beyond borders and welcome the dawn of the next era in human civilization.
Hello guys, and welcome to Sid Meier's Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. Massive thanks to 2K Games for providing me with early access and a key to the expansion itself. I have been messing around with it a little bit before bringing you guys a preview today. It's been a long time since I've had Civilization content on the channel. Last time round was with Civilization Beyond Earth, which was a game I absolutely fell in love with, and for those of you who were subscribed to me back then will know that I did multiple playthroughs all the way up to the hardest difficulty. But this time around we're just going to be spending about an hour into the game and see how much we can get done whilst sort of discussing a lot of the new features, although much of that will be introduced at the start of the playthrough. So let's create a new game. Today we're going to be playing Kupe. He has a lot of early game mechanics, so I thought he would be a great new leader to show off. Now, Civilization 6 is actually a game that I do play in my own time sometimes, and I played a lot of the base game. I haven't played any of the first expansion, Rise and Fall, and this will be probably my second delve really into the campaign in Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. But let's have a quick look at Kupe. Kupe has Kupe's Voyage, which begins him in an ocean tile. Gain a free builder and +1 population when settling your first city. The palace receives +3 housing and +1 amenity, +2 science and +2 culture per turn before you settle your first city. So those are just bonuses in order to help you start, since you will take a little while to settle. Mana. Begin the game with the sailing and shipbuilding technologies unlocked, and with the ability to enter ocean tiles. Embarked units gain +5 combat strength and +2 movement. Unimproved woods and rainforests are +1 production, becoming +2 once the conservation civic is unlocked. Fishing boats provide +1 food and a culture bomb to adjacent tiles. Resources cannot be harvested. Great writers cannot be earned. Now, for those of you who are new to Civilization entirely, I will keep all of the advisor stuff on for Civilization 6. So don't worry too much about trying to understand all of the different things here to do with the amenities and housing. It's all quite new actually to Civilization 6, even if you played other Civilization games. Mare, building unique to the Maori, +2 culture and faith to all of this city's tiles with passable features. I believe that includes things like hills and marshes, so that should be pretty cool. After Flighters Research, receive +2 tourism to all of this city's tiles with a feature, costs no maintenance, has no great work slots. Toa, Maori unique classical era melee unit. Adjacent enemy units receive -5 combat strength, can build a par. A par is an occupying, is a defensive construct. Occupying units receive +4 defense strength and automatically gains 2 turns of fortification. A Maori unit occupying a par heals even if they just moved or attacked. So really good sort of power spike in the classical era for the Maori. And then towards the late game, you're working towards saving the planet and maybe looking for a diplomatic victory or potentially a culture victory. I think that's the best way to probably play them. Of course, you can go for domination or whatever else you want to do, but I think that's how they're intended to be played. I'm not going to mess around with the settings too much. We'll keep it on prints. We'll use the standard game speed. Continents is fine. It will give us plenty of water to explore, and map size will remain small. But what I'm going to do, since we are previewing Gathering Storm, we're going to put the disaster intensity up to 4, and hopefully we will see some volcanoes erupt, some floods, all that good stuff. So let's start the game.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Kupe the Navigator, you named the land of the long white cloud, and now you are called upon to settle new lands. Protect and honor the land and sea, just as your Toas protect your people. The Maori will guard the world's natural beauty for all the ages after.
Gotta love Sean Bean's dulcet tones. Let's begin the game. So here we have, I guess, the introduction to Gathering Storm. There's plenty to go through here. Welcome to Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. This guide will introduce you to new features in this expansion. Additional information can be found in the Civilopedia and advisor tips. And for those of you interested in looking into Civilization 6, I definitely recommend having a look at the Wikipedia online as well, since there's just loads of information about how to get started, like beginner guides and all that kind of stuff. I've played, I think, about 40 hours in Civilization 6 in total, but that's mostly on the base game. Right, World Congress, this is something that's new. World Congress is where you make your voice heard amongst other civilizations in the world. It is also an important part of the new diplomatic victory. Proposals are sent before the World Congress for vote and come in 2 types, resolutions and discussions. Resolutions affect all civilizations, such as banning a luxury resource or gaining extra amenities from each copy of the resource. Discussions are potential scored competitions or emergencies that members of the World Congress may join, like World Games or a religious emergency. Members can summon a special session if they have an emergency they need addressed, like a request for aid after a natural disaster. I believe you can also use it to gain aid from a surprise war or like an attack, but I'm not entirely sure how that works. Diplomatic favor is a new form of currency in the game. Your diplomatic actions will earn you diplomatic favor that can be used in the World Congress to help you or hinder others. Diplomatic favor can be earned through alliances, city-states of which you are the suzerain, success in scored competitions, and more. There are major and minor ways to gain diplomatic favour through a game. Some actions will grant a large payout of favour all at once, and some will grant it slowly over time. Try trading for other players' favour to strengthen your position in World Congress. So this is something that you can go for in order to push diplomatic victory in the late game. You can spend your diplomatic favour to extract promises from other players, call special sessions of Congress, and buy votes in World Congress. Or save up for diplomatic favour throughout the game to pursue diplomatic victory points in the later eras, like it mentions. So this is the new diplomatic victory. Gather diplomatic victory points to pursue the new diplomatic victory. Starting in the modern era, players will be able to use their diplomatic favour in World Congress to compete for diplomatic victory points. Win the resolution to bring yourself closer to victory, or to prevent other players from achieving their own. Now, I feel like on the hardest difficulties, this is going to be almost impossible to do, because surely everybody is always going to vote against you, no matter how much diplomatic favour you have, unless it doesn't really work like that. But either way, other players may request aid when they have been affected by a particularly catastrophic natural disaster. Provide the most aid in the ensuing scored competition, and you'll gain more diplomatic victory points. The previous warmongering system has been replaced with a new representation of how other players view your warlike actions. These are called grievances. Now, when other players wrong you by denouncement, declaration of war, or capturing or razing one of your cities, you gain grievances against them, and may retaliate in kind with the world's approval. No longer will you be denounced for a fair, punitive city capture after an unjustified war. You may also use grievances to request promises from other players. If the other player continues to go against your wishes that you indicate in this manner, they will continually generate grievances that you can use to justify a war against them. The world at large still pays attention to the overall grievances that other players have against you. If you have grieved others more than they have grieved you, third parties will notice, and it will impact their opinion of you. I really like this change. The warmongering system before was kind of annoying, because if you got attacked by a surprise war and then you went and took one of their settlements, everybody hated you and everybody denounced you, and it was really, really frustrating. But now, if they attack you, you can kind of use that grievance to take a settlement from them as compensation almost. For Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, the environment around you is more alive than ever before. Natural disasters like floods, storms, and volcanoes can pillage or destroy your improvements and districts, but they might refresh and enrich the lands after they pass. From blizzards to dust storms, from tornadoes to hurricanes, storms are another challenge to overcome. Storms, I believe, they start on the water for the most part, and then they come inland and do damage as they go, and they also hurt units that are inside the storms. Flooded rivers may damage your improvements, but they might improve the food yield on a tile too. Volcanoes are high risk, but high reward. Settlement locations... sorry, I read that wrong. But either way, volcanic eruptions can pillage or destroy improvements, districts and buildings, and even kill or damage units. But volcanic soil is highly valuable and very fertile. Geothermal fissures are new features that provide benefits to nearby buildings or districts, like additional amenities or tourism. Strategic resources have been divided into two types: fuel and material. Fuel resources are used to meet the power needs of your cities, whereas material resources are required to produce resource-dependent units. Manage the power in your city to make late-game buildings more effective. Trade material resources and fuel with other civilizations. Awesome. They've made it, I think, so that resources are sort of finite now almost, and you just sort of generate a number of them each turn, rather than just having like extra of a particular resource and then always having to trade it off, because that's all you really had it for. Whereas now you kind of have to save up a certain amount. You get a certain amount of turn based on how many you've got, and then you can buy stuff using that. So yeah, it's more of a finite resource. Your choices about resource usage will directly affect the world's temperature and can cause rising sea levels. Some coastal tiles will be at risk of becoming flooded or completely submerged. When settling cities, consider the risk of these coastal lowland tiles, but keep in mind that in the atomic era, flood barriers can be used to protect these tiles. Burning fuel heats up the atmosphere, leading to melted ice caps and rising sea levels. Your settler will now tell you if you are building a city in low area near a coast. The flood barrier will help you protect your city from rising sea. There is plenty more to explore in Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, including new errors in the technology and civics trees, new historic monuments, new global units, including the giant death robot, leaders and civilizations that synergize with new systems and more. So that's about it. Let's get into the game.
Civilization has accomplished something historic, worthy of being celebrated and remembered for generations to come. These accomplishments help our civilization reach a golden age and avoid a dark age.
So this is our history, and by discovering shipbuilding we have taken 2 error score, and based on our error score in each error you can potentially trigger a golden age or just continue. If you don't reach a decent amount of error score, then you have a dark age. So threshold to avoid a dark age in the next era is 12 or above. Threshold to earn a golden age in the next era is 24 or above. We are in the normal age during this game era. There you go. So this is our starting position in the middle of goddamn nowhere, which is always fun. I'm going to turn off the tile options for now. That is not the right button. Let's turn off yield icons, that's the one I was looking for. Okay. Let's go to the left here. And we are going to find some incense and some fish. Fish is actually really good for us because our worker can, I think, work that almost immediately and culture bomb the surrounding tiles. So this may be a really good place to settle. We could probably place our settlement on the incense and take that resource. I believe that's how it works anyway. So yeah, I'm not a complete expert at the game, but we'll just carry on and we'll find a place to settle shortly.
Our explorers have spotted another friendly tribal village. I suggest we send a scout to investigate.
But at the start of the game, it's pretty important that you do try and find as many tribal villages as you can. Since they do provide you with potentially bonus population, which I think is probably the best one, as well as Eurekas for technologies. Instead of actually giving you entire technologies, what they tend to do now is just give you a Eureka, which boosts how quickly that particular technology takes to complete. I think early on we're going to go for pottery, since I'm probably not going to be cutting down these trees anytime soon. This is just a small island, but it's quite a nice place for us to start. It's got plenty of resources, and we got the fish here like I already mentioned. And getting the settlement down sooner than later is always a good thing. So let's just settle here.
Our city continues to prosper. Already our people thrive, and our population grows.
We got our extra population almost immediately, which is why the lady was pleased. Let's move on to this tile, and we'll get a farm down. As soon as we expand, I will get the fish here as well. Which one is that actually going to expand to automatically? Or is it not yet? I don't think it is yet. But we're going to just get another settler straight out, since I don't really have much room to expand here. I want to get another one onto the mainland as soon as possible. This is a really sort of safe capital at the start though.
Just as our citizens have faith in your leadership, So they are beginning to have faith in a higher power. I think it is wise to cultivate this new way of thinking. Perhaps there is some benefit to be gained.
So that's talking about faith. And we now have 1 + 1 per turn. Faith can be used to spread our religion that we eventually choose. Just going to have him go back in there and he can sleep for now until we unlock some better tiles. So we're going to be unlocking the crabs tile. That is fine. Might come on land here just to see what's up.
It would seem we have finally tracked the barbarian raiders plaguing these lands to their source. We must destroy this stronghold or risk future attacks.
So barbarian camps, still a thing in Civilization if you guys have played them before. They do have the spearmen there, so it'd be very difficult for our warriors to attack them straight away. So we're probably just going to avoid it, and I think I might get them back on the water and we'll go continue to explore the coast. The reason I decided to get onto this tile was because it was a hill tile, which gives us extra sort of line of sight around the area for a potential place to put our next settler. The good thing about our settlement here is we have a lot of production, because if we look at the tile yields, we can see that these tiles give us a lot of production since they are forested, and we get bonuses since we are the Maori. So it's all good. That was actually a really nice place to start. That's why we can build a settler so quick, actually. It's a really interesting map. It's like another island. I think it is. Placing a settlement here by the rice and also the wheat would be perfect. Because we are getting pottery, and that allows the harvesting of wheat and rice. We'd also get the extra production from the forest.
I thought clay must feel happy in the good potter's.
Let's move on. Do we need plantations? I don't think we do. I think I'm going to go for mining so that we can exploit the silver. We bumped into another civilization. Say hi. And Eureka.
This river has floodplains, which means it has flooded before, and might burst its banks again. A flood along this river could happen at any point in the future. This presents us with risks, but potentially benefits too.
Since we have the disaster level quite high, I'm probably going to try and avoid rivers for the time being. Although saying that, being by fresh water does give us more housing, so it may be something to consider for our next settlement. Now, you saw a Eureka come up there for us discovering a new civilization. In Civilization 6, if you complete certain prerequisites, you get a Eureka. So for example, with astrology, if we find a natural wonder, that will give us the Eureka. That basically means the technology takes, I think, half as long, or maybe 2/3, or like 1/3 less. I think they changed that. It used to be half. Anyway, we'll carry on. Let's get our crabs. Fish those. Lovely. And we'll continue on here with our warrior just to see if we can find a decent spot to settle. Honestly, most places along the coast here don't look too bad. I'm very tempted actually to go and settle on the ivory. since that will give us access to the plains. Later on we can do an aqueduct to the river if we need to. Being close to Egypt might not be a good idea though. I'm not entirely sure.
Enacting new policies in our government can be of great benefit. Our people await your decree.
It is not wisdom, but authority that makes a law.
The Code of Laws has been complete, and this has given us our first cards to use as civics. So since our government is just a chiefdom, we have one military policy and one economic policy we can enact out of these four. We unlock more by continuing down the civics tree, which is pushed by culture. Later on, we gain access to different government types like autocracy, oligarchy, and classical republic, which give us more options. You can see by the number of cards it shows how many exactly that is. But for now, I think what we're going to do is get +1 production in all cities, and we'll take the +5 unit combat strength when fighting barbarians. I think you get to change that for free every time you complete a new civic on the civic tree. And what I'm probably going to do is turn back, because I don't really want to settle near tundra, since tundra tiles don't have very good yields compared to more temperate tiles. So I'm going to start heading up the coast this way, and maybe where this sort of kraken is shown on the map, we can find some better land to settle. But I'm very tempted to send a settler down here. Our settler is ready. Potentially we could settle here. I think we might put one there for now. That land will be the last affected by rising sea levels. This one will be the first. Okay, I guess the last is fine. Probably won't affect us during this preview. Choose our next civic. I think craftsmanship would not be a bad idea, since pushing for more builders will definitely be something that I'll be doing. And trading isn't really going to come about just yet. Although I guess we could go and trade with Egypt if we wanted to. At our capital, it could be worth getting a galley so that we explore the seas. How much housing do we have? 9 housing, so a granary is probably a bit overkill, although the +1 food is relatively nice. Honestly, I might just get a builder, another builder, because this one will eventually run out of uses. You get 3 uses with every builder in Civilization 6. Previous Civilization games, I think they were pretty much unlimited. We'll just tell him to sleep again. Move on to the next turn. Now generally, especially on the harder difficulties, you would definitely escort your settler more often. But in this case, I'm absolutely fine. We're just leaving them. The barbarians could come up and attack us, but as soon as we settled, it probably won't be a problem.
May I make a suggestion?
The settling a new city has expanded our civilization. With an empire larger than one city, it is important to keep an eye on the loyalty of our citizens. If loyalty decreases, the city is not as effective. If loyalty drops to 0, the city will declare its independence and become a free city. The same can happen to other civilizations, so keep an eye out for opportunities to destabilize others, and maybe even take a free city into your own empire. Loyalty is mainly affected by the number and nationality of citizens in and near the city. Having lots of your own population within 9 tiles will improve your loyalty each turn. populations belonging to other civilizations within 9 tiles will decrease it. The closer cities are together, the greater the effect is. Furthermore, the effect is greatly strengthened for civilizations in Golden Ages and weakened by Dark Ages. Assigning a governor to a city and ensuring it has enough amenities are other ways to ensure the loyalty of your own cities. So for now, in the early game, we probably don't have to worry about that.
City along the low coast, within the sound of the ocean's waves. But this is lowland, and will flood if the sea level rises.
We should be fine for now. But having got here, I'm tempted to just build another warrior or something that can help us explore. Let's just set it for a warrior for now, and I'll bring over the builder here to improve the rice and the wheat, and that should improve our population quickly and allow us to build quicker. I think the production here shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, we do have this tile which provides us with 3 production. Although we are pushing, let's go like so. That will speed up the production of the warrior. All good. Settling up here would not be a bad idea. If we settle next to this river on the hills, then not only are we out of the floodplains, but we also get access to the deer. We can get the crabs to culture bomb. My diplomatic delegation brings you a small gift of papyrus from the new ISIS. Welcome them as you would welcome me. Or welcome the delegation, that is fine. We've got the warrior building there. A warrior can actually defend against the barbarian camp. It's not a bad idea. Just keep having a look around here. We discovered some cotton.
When you find yourself in a hole, quit digging.
Mining is complete. Let's choose our next research. Let's push on to writing. If we can get campuses up and running early, we can push our science very fast. We've discovered another tribal village. We'll go pick that up if we can. Let's push out another builder, and we're going to have this one go over here. Okay, continue taking next turn. Don't have to worry about the warriors coming onto the water here. The barbarians, they don't use the water at all. Water growth is nearly going to give us the fish, and that will allow us to build the next thing with the builder.
We have discovered a city-state. Establishing diplomatic relations with them will surely be beneficial for our empire.
Entek ninshahu erhe per embach bai en. Bai ekmisha hezi.
Cleopatra not happy with our army.
Earn envoys to grow these relationships.
We've come across Cardiff, and we've boosted archery because of that. So were we the first to discover them? We were. So that's going to give us +2 production in the capital when producing wonders, buildings and districts. Very nice indeed. And the mission is trigger an inspiration for drama and poetry. And by doing so, I believe we get some kind of reward, maybe another envoy. By building that farm on wheat and improving wheat, we have got irrigation boosted. probably also try and improve this rice, and that will help the population grow very quickly. Though after this warrior is built, I'll probably start focusing on food again to boost that a little more. Probably do the same here at some point. After the next builder is built, we'll push for food so that we can push the population a bit faster. Because I do need to build another settler, and you can't do that unless you have 2 population at least. That may actually be worth not building here so that we maintain the marsh. That way we get the culture and faith from building our unique building. Since it's the early game, we can actually move into their territory. I am going to do so. And I'm going to move my warrior this way.
It is best to use caution when moving close to enemy units. Doing so will often force the unit to be in the enemy's zone of control, restricting its movement.
By that they mean if you're next to a unit, you normally can't move as much. We're going to leave our warrior there for now so that I can bring my worker over. We can work that tile. I will build the farm because I'm curious whether or not it removes the marsh tile. Now at this settlement, I think I might focus on building another warrior or potentially a slinger. Probably just a warrior for now. And we will make that focus on food once again. If we do both, that's probably a better idea. How long until we gain that tile? Oh, it's deciding to take this tile instead. That's fine. Let's jump onto the water here and jump across. Meanwhile, new builder has been made. Let's just use the last use of this builder for that fishing resource. And this one, we can head up to where we want to place the next settlement. Since I am just going to get another settler building there straight away, and we'll focus on production. That will stop my capital from growing, but I just want to throw out as many settlers as quickly as I can. Let's build that there. And we're going to move on with our warrior. Just tell that to sleep for now until our settler is produced. And what we may be able to do is build a pa next to one of these barbarian camps eventually. We haven't reached the classical era yet, of course, but when we do, that may be the time to try and take them out. Since we have now got 2 population, they're going to be working both of these tiles that we've upgraded, which is really good. When we get the 3rd population, it will start working probably the production tile. Tempted to build a farm here, but I am going to have to leave room for things like districts. This is going to be a pretty tough settlement to build districts around. Same with my capital actually. It's going to be a limited space for districts in the mid to late game. We gained the Celestial Navigation boost. That is very nice. Let's continue on with the warrior. Since they're on the hills here, I think they get a minor defensive bonus. I may just have him stand in the settlement for now until we get the crabs here, and then we can just upgrade that. So loyalty status is absolutely fine. It's rising by 23 per turn. All good. So I believe with a small map there should be, I think, 3 other nations or 5 other nations on the map. Not entirely sure. I'm going to tell them to go to sleep though. And well, we'll continue the attack onto the warriors here. I'm going to let that get its population up. And then we can push for the warrior.
We have recently gained advanced knowledge in city planning. Creating districts in our cities can be much more powerful and lucrative than simple improvements like farms and mines. As our civic knowledge grows, so do our methods of governance. Furthering this endeavor will allow us to appoint a governor to strengthen our power in our cities. The number of faithful has grown, and it is time for us to define our beliefs. Let us choose a pantheon to worship.
Loads of stuff to do.
Writing means sharing. It's part of the human condition to want to share things. Thoughts, ideas, opinions. Skill without imagination is craftsmanship, and gives us many useful objects, such as wickerwork picnic baskets.
Let's have a look at our policies. I probably don't need the extra production towards builders now, since I already built a ton of them. But what we could do is maybe go towards the plus 50% production towards ancient era classical melee, anti-infantry and ranged units in order to pump out a few more warriors. But for now I think we're just going to keep with the combat strength since we are now fighting the barbarians and we're not going to be fighting anyone else for the time being. So let's have a look at our governors here. Are there any new governors that they've added? I mean, I haven't played around with governors at all. I've only ever seen governors in other people's playthroughs. What we're going to do with this warrior is put him on fortify until healed, so he just stays in a decent defensive position, although we might get attacked by this slinger, which would not be good. But if they move next to us, I might just attack them straight up. Right, it's recommending we take irrigation. I'm really not sure that that's the best bet. Just trying to look at where else we would settle, and that might determine what technology we take next. We wouldn't need animal husbandry if we actually settled directly on top of the ivory. I think the only reason it's really recommending irrigation is because we have it boosted. Let's do irrigation for now. I'm going to try and kill more barbarians and we'll get bronze working going. We'll choose a new civic. Government Plaza. A district placed once in your empire to commemorate your government choices. Provides +8 loyalty per turn to the city and an increase of +1 to the adjacency bonuses being earned by any adjacent district. Awards +1 governor title. So we might actually want to get that sooner than later. A governor title is pretty nice. Personally though, I think foreign trade would not be a bad idea, so we can start building some trade routes towards Egypt and potentially Cardiff as well. Cardiff would be a pretty good one because I think we get extra production for trading with them. So Pantheon is like our religion. So we've got to choose a Pantheon belief. This is a bonus that we will get for settlements that have our Pantheon. The +1 production from fishing boats is probably not a bad idea, since we are going to be getting every single fishing boat we can. And it is quite thematic. Might not be the best, but Might be a good idea. The other one is +1 production from marsh, oasis, and desert floodplains. Because each of those will give us culture and faith anyway, so getting a bit of extra production from them will be pretty nice. That's when we get our unique building. Religious idols, we could boost faith. City growth is 10% higher, is always a nice one. The extra population. I think I'm going to go for the production from fishing boats though. God of the Sea. Let's found this pantheon. And by doing so, we've boosted mysticism.
Our city-state neighbors have made a request of us. If we can impress them, I think they will reward us handsomely.
We've discovered ourselves another city-state. They wish us to construct a harbour in order to complete their quest. And were we the first to discover them? We were not. So we did not get a free envoy. It's likely that we're going to get attacked here if we do not attack them. I might actually just fall back for now. If they chase us, we'll just continue to move back.
Though our population grows, there is little room for our newest citizens. We should find a way to add more housing to this city.
Right, that's a Pango. I'm pretty sure it's just reached its population cap. Well, it's 3 out of 4. You always tend to want it to be 2 higher, your maximum, than the amount you have, because otherwise you get penalties towards growth. That is fine. Let's just continue to come back. At least our warrior is going to be built relatively quickly now. Okay, I think we've more or less explored most of the coast that I would potentially want to settle. So we're looking at maybe around here with this river, and maybe further up the coast, maybe around this rice and stone would not necessarily be a bad idea, and also down here. But these floodplains, it's not looking too great. I think here will be my next settlement. So we'll have the warrior come back down. We could have him come on the ground actually. That would be probably a pretty decent idea. Let's have him come on land, and that way can discover some stuff potentially. I'm going to move into the settlement now, and we'll put him on fortify until heal for the time being. Otherwise that slinger's just going to keep coming. Might keep coming anyway, apparently. Right, they raised my rice field. How dare they?
We are, by the grace of God, Victoria, Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. And soon, dare I say, the Empire.
Oh, it's Blighty. Well, we'll say hi. And we'll exchange informations about our capital. There's all the way up there. Okay, well, let's continue down. And our warrior can now start throwing punches at the slingers. And the settler can head up over here. Right, the campus is recommended, but there isn't really a decent place for me to put it. That's like the worst part. There really isn't a good place to put any sort of district. I think I'm just gonna get a galley for now. And we'll tell that to focus on food. that we can get the population up in 3 turns. Over here might not be a bad idea for a campus. So we'll get that down.
The man who has grit enough to bring about the afforestation or the irrigation of a country is not less worthy of honour than its conqueror.
There we go, irrigation complete. And if we start killing off both of these barbarians, we can focus on bronze working. But for now, let's just finish off animal husbandry. I'm going to try and move my warriors behind these warriors so that we can get an advantage and just sort of trap them and get the bronze working Eureka. We'll try and fix up the rice. Delegation is fine.
This military unit has proven themselves. From the experience they have gained in combat, they are eligible to be granted a promotion. How will you reward these brave souls?
Well, let's give them a promotion. I'm going to go for Battle Cry. Useful in the early game. Quickly repaired the farm. Now we'll go to the crabs here. Are there any recommendations here? There's actually a recommendation up here, but that would probably get flooded. Actually, it's not going to get flooded, so that would be fine. I think here's pretty decent. We'll get a lot of production there. And we'll have decent housing being next to fresh water. I think I can take that out with just one more attack. Yep. That's going to give us our Eureka. Well, I guess it's time to put some pressure on the barbarian camp then. So at some point, I will be able to upgrade them when we get to the classical era. For now though, let's just carry on here. And that's the crabs. Ours. Ooh, very nice. There's even bananas here, and incense. Perfect place for us to settle. We've even got some mountains where we can put a campus. If I put a campus here, I think it'll get the bonus from this tile, and potentially the river as well. Be worth going one more over this way. Trying to think. The maximum you can exploit is 3 tiles from where your settler is. So you want to make sure that you can potentially exploit the most things around you. Like I wouldn't be able to reach the rice, but I would be able to reach the cotton. I think that is fine. Yeah, we're not going to want to exploit that rice for a while anyway, so we'll just found it there.
We have the opportunity to develop a formal trade route between 2 cities. A trader unit is required to establish such a route, which would be very beneficial for our economy.
That's the positive aspect of trade, I suppose. The world gets stirred up together.
The trade is now available. It gives us a trader unit that can be used to trade with other factions and the city-states. Not going to change my civics for now though. Inspiration has been boosted. And it looks like we boosted the trade, which is why it completed so quickly. Let's go for early empire. That does give us the governor title. We'll continue to move down here to discover more lands. We have a lot of production here. Tiles are very good for us. I think I might actually build a trader. We'll get the traders going. We only have a trade capacity of 1. So building one of those is not necessarily a bad idea.
If there are no dogs in heaven, then when I die, I want to go where they went.
Animal husbandry complete. Choose our next research. Let's go for bronze working. Go for iron. The slinger is able to attack me in the same turn as they're moving. That's not ideal. Very close to destroying this camp though. That would be a major victory. Oh, we'll take it out. Lovely. The danger on the doorstep of Opango has been defeated. The barbarians driven away. That's extra 3 error score. We are up to 9 out of 12. Like Victoria is actually pretty happy with us at the moment. Probably because we allowed her delegation. I'm hoping not to lose that warrior. That would be rather silly. I might also move this one back. We'll do a runner. Pretty sure the slingers can't move on to a hill tile and attack in the same turn, so we should be okay.
Entek nenshahu erhe per embach pai en. Pai ekmesha hezi.
Still not happy with my army size. But at this point in the game, on this difficulty, having an army is not really needed. It looks like this place that I was going to settle has been taken by Egypt. That's okay. We eventually decided to send our next settler here anyway. But we're going to be able to get away from the slinger, which is good. There's another barbarian camp here.
Please accept my warmest thanks for your kind endeavors on the continent we share.
I'm guessing that's thanks for destroying the barbarians. Okay, yearning for new adventures, the galley from the Maori is the first in the world to roam the seas. Very close to picking up the silver now. Just keep moving back. We'll get those healed up eventually. Is it still recommending campus? I guess we could put the campus on this land here. What's the tile yield like? I don't think it's probably very good. No, it's just trash actually. There's nothing there. It is desert, that's why. Let's just put the campus there. We'll just buy that. We can always maybe put a commercial district in between.
WakwaZulu. Ungalokothi uflathela amabutho ami. Ngeke ngilenze lelo phutha.
We've met Shaka of the Zulu. I'm just going to put these on fortify until healed. If these scouts come over, I'm hoping that they won't actually end up killing my guys. I could go for the like round the world discovery. If we just go all the way around early on, we could probably boost our error score to a golden age straight away. That could be a good idea. But so far, we actually haven't seen any of the natural disasters. I just don't think we have any volcanoes near us. Let's go into the world climate and see if anything actually happened, because we can see the event history here. 1,000-year flood and the Nile River. The Nile, I'm assuming, is near Egypt's capital. But our trader is finished. We could probably trade with Sweenet to get the extra gold and the food. Do that.
In addition to bringing riches to our civilization, this trade route will gradually develop roads between our cities. Roads allow our units to no longer be impaired by the difficult terrain through which they pass.
Yeah, so roads over things like hills removes the negative modifier that hills would otherwise give you. Got currency, it's all good. Can you continue up a little bit? Then we'll go across. At Otatarapa, shall we go for a district? I think we shall. Get all of the campuses down. Looking at what else you could potentially get. Pushing for a granary could be a good idea eventually, but we've got 5 housing here. How's a Pango doing? That definitely needs to make the granary next, since we need the extra housing. Growth is very slow here. Oh, this is no good. I think I'm going to lose my warrior, because this thing is probably going to attack him. Yep, that was unfortunate. Completely missed that.
Bronze is the mirror of the form, wine of the mind.
Could have been avoided, I think. Now, we've unlocked the encampment district and the barracks, spearmen, the iron resource. I wonder if we're near the iron resource anywhere. There is some iron here. For now, let's just move back. And we'll get currency underway, because getting the commercial districts is pretty useful. Our builder there can improve the fish. The fish is providing us with that extra production, so that's always very nice. I wonder which ones we're actually managing at the moment. Yeah, we are using all of those. That is fine. This settlement's producing things very quickly. I mean, all of them are I think honestly, like the fact that forests give you production early on is really, really strong with the Maori. We have state workforce has advanced considerably due to Eureka. That's always good. This is the Bar Yusuf River. See them labelled on the map now. Choose production at Topanga. Let's get the granary going. Fortify until healed there. Get those fish. Very good. This has 2 uses. I think I'll send it over to Tarapa so we can get the deer, potentially the bananas as well. Although, yeah, we did do irrigation in the end, so we can get the bananas. I think letting like one of my warriors die was really sloppy. Completely avoidable. Yeah, circumnavigating the globe will definitely improve our error score quite a bit.
My liege, we are beginning to attract the attention of the great people of the world. Of course, there are other leaders vying for their attention too. The more specialized districts we construct, the more we will draw in specialized great people to share their talents with our civilization. I advise that we continue to build these. We now have the opportunity to appoint a governor to our civilization. This governor will be a powerful and productive asset when assigned to one of our cities. I suggest we choose a candidate as soon as possible.
It was luxuries like air conditioning that brought down the Roman Empire. With air conditioning, their windows were shut. They couldn't hear the barbarians coming.
Let's have a look at Liang. I think she's pretty good for production. So she's got zoning commissioner, which is plus 20% production towards constructing districts in the city. Reinforced materials. The city's improvements, buildings and districts cannot be damaged by environmental effects. This is really nice. Aquaculture can construct the fishery improvement. +1 food, +1 food to adjacent. That's very good. +2 housing for every neighborhood and aqueduct city. It's pretty nice. What was the other one I was thinking of? Steward. +20% growth. Your trade routes ending here provide +2 food. Like settlers trained in the city do not consume population is always pretty nice. A financer just allows us to get extra gold early, but I think production of food is pretty decent. Don't really care about Moksha right now. This lady's good for loyalty. I think I might get Magnus, and we'll appoint him in Otarapa.
Our governor is now on their way to their assigned city. It will take some time for them to become established there. Once established, their talents will come into effect, strengthening our rule there.
It was luxuries like air conditioning that brought down the Roman Empire. With air conditioning, their windows were shut. They couldn't hear the barbarians coming.
The governors are something that I actually haven't played around with before, since I never played Rise and Fall, but I believe they were introduced in the last expansion. So +2 loyalty per turn for garrisoned or cities with garrisoned units, and plus 50% production towards settlers. I mean, that could be quite nice to just start boosting the amount of cities we have right now. Go ahead and do that. And after these campuses are built, we can pop out a bunch of settlers from each of the settlements. So let's go for state workforce. You can see the road being created between us and Egypt right now. They're offering 12 for open borders. We're not going to give them open borders. They are offering some diplomatic favour. 30 turns of 1 gold per turn. Maybe we can change this. No. It's as good as it gets, but we will take that. I don't mind about Egypt, honestly. Let's move our warrior back towards this slinger and we can take them out. So we are playing this very light on the ground in terms of troops. What I might actually be able to do is just purchase a warrior or two. Just purchase a warrior to go deal with these barbarians. Right, in here, we're gonna get the bananas upgraded first.
Civilizations have uncovered new technologies and civics, and soon the world itself will reach the dawn of a new era. Our actions in this era may lead us into a golden age for our civilization, or perhaps darker days lie ahead.
So our current era is the ancient era, and there's 11 turns until our next era. Now what I'm planning to do, guys, is I will continue until the next era comes about, and then we can start to explore some of the stuff that the Maori can do, and the fact that they get the upgraded units and all that good stuff. So put some pressure onto these slingers, and we will see what other units need to be moved. Probably just this warrior, right?
Gott grüße euch, Geselle. Ich bin Kaiser Friedrich und herrsche über deutsche und welsche Lande, über Burgund und manche mehr. Ich weiß wohl, dass auch ihr kundgeherrschen mit rechter Gewalt.
We have come across Frederick Barbarossa. We're not going to give them our diplomatic favour. No point. Let's kill off these guys. And we will improve the bananas. All good. That's going to give us some extra cash from that plantation.
Let me ask leave then, to pay a tribute of respect and admiration to the once desired Matterhorn, before his head has lost the last rays of a sun departing to gild loftier and more distant ranges.
We found Matterhorn. Very nice. Love the way that was right next to us and we didn't see it. That's a boosted astrology. Continue around the coast here. Going to be going for that circumnavigation. The unit's available for promotion, which is good. Continue on to the next turn. Right, at our capital, we have 5 out of 11 in terms of housing. The Hanging Gardens we could build, but we'd have to build it where our farms are. I guess the farms probably aren't even being used. It is, but it's not actually that a high yield tile. Will we have enough time to build this? I have a feeling that like another faction or civilization would beat us to it regardless. It's tempting though. Like the plus 15% growth in all cities is just really nice. Let's do it on that tile. Just going to move like so. I don't think that scout can take out my warrior. If I'm wrong, then so be it. Move on to the next turn. So we still haven't really experienced many of the natural disasters. There has been floods that we've been told about, but nothing else. Oh, there was a tornado and a Category 5 hurricane. No damage done just yet. Okay, let's move on to the next turn. At Otatara Pa, we will get a settler, I believe. We do have the boost for that, don't we? We do. Why is that still 10 turns? Not entirely sure. Anyway, we'll continue here towards this barbarian camp. Discovering a lot of tribal villages, but nothing I can do about that in terms of picking them up. It's funny to see all of the different civilizations actually liking me. I'm used to actually playing it on harder difficulty in the base game, and everyone always used to denounce you for everything, but in this case it seems to have been pretty decent so far. Of course the difficulty does change that a lot. And we must be pretty close to circumnavigating the world. Tatopango, it is recommending a settler. Would like to get a settler built. We're very close. If we can do it before the next era. How many turns we have? It's like 5, I think, now. 4 turns. I'm not sure we're going to do it in time. I guess it can always count towards the next era.
Money, if it does not bring you happiness, will at least help you be miserable in comfort.
We've got ourselves the commercial hubs now. We can build those. That will be very useful. I might just fortify there. I might fortify here as well. And for our research, open the technology tree. Go towards celestial navigation so we can get harbours. Because harbours are very similar to commercial districts in why you get them. since we don't have very good places to put districts, I'm probably going to get harbours before I get commercial hubs. Also, by getting a harbour I complete one of the missions. One of the quests that the city-states have. So that would be a good idea.
Once again, we have the opportunity to enhance our powers of governance. We can use it to promote one of our existing governors, or we can appoint another new governor to our civilization. We are now ready to choose where to build our government buildings. We may only zone one of these in our empire, so choose carefully. Your Grace, I worry about the happiness of our citizens. I would advise that we investigate a means of increasing their contentment.
We have a lack of amenities, which will actually continue as we continue to make more settlements, unless we can find more things to make them happy. I think we're going to promote this guy to surplus logistics.
A strong economy begins with a strong, well-educated workforce.
Okay, government plaza is available. We don't have many units, so reducing unit maintenance isn't that good. I'm going to keep the extra production towards settlers for now, until we've actually completed our settlers. Pushing towards political philosophy is a pretty good idea, because then we can get autocracy, oligarchy, and classical republic sooner than later. Just going to keep them both fortified. If the warriors want to keep attacking us, then they can. We'll just keep healing every turn. Well, we found the coast. I can just go and knock that one out now. Goodbye. Imagine circumnavigating the globe in 1640 BC. That would be quite the achievement. That's interesting because I'm not entirely sure how diplomatic favour will value throughout the game. They're offering me 10 for 2.
The time has come to choose which of our accomplishments to commemorate in our history. This will inspire our people to continue to press forward towards a path of your choosing. History marches forward, and the world has entered a new era. We may see a golden age, or a dark age, in our civilization's future, born from the actions of our recent past.
I don't believe in astrology. I'm a Sagittarius, and we're skeptical.
I'm going to make a dedication. We are in a normal age. We make a dedication which will improve additional source of error score, provide additional score of error score during the age. Okay. So, we can get free inquiry. Gain +1 error score each time you trigger a Eureka, +1 error score for constructing a building that provides science as a base yield. And Brush and Voice is gain error score each time you trigger an inspiration, +1 error score constructing a building with a great work slot. So that's inspirations actually. I kept calling them Eurekas, but for the civics it's called an inspiration, and for science it's called a Eureka. So sorry if I've been getting that wrong throughout the entire video so far. Monumentality, it gives us +1 error score each time you construct a new specialty district. And Exodus of the Evangelists gives us +2 error score each time you convert a city to your founded religion. Then we'll go for free inquiry, since we will be building a bunch of libraries, so that's quite a lot of free error score. And we have been hitting the Eurekas quite frequently, so it's all good. Let's just fortify until heal there. And that one can move on. Cool. 3 turns until the Hanging Gardens are complete. I hope we get it. It might be a bit of a waste of a tile here, but I'm not too concerned now.
Über Vorsichtigkeit sie gelobet. Zu helfen diesem Reich hieße tanzen mit dem Tode.
Okay, so not happy with us messing with city-states. Well, that is fine. Let's just start bashing on those guys. I'm gonna kill off the scouts as well there. Very good. So in our settlements, you should see our new units soon. We are in the classical era. We should be able to get, I think it was towers. Maybe we need to get a specific technology in order to unlock those. Now here we could get a commercial hub. And placing a commercial hub here is actually a pretty good place. Then we could get a harbour next to it. And a harbour would be pretty good here as well, since there's 2 fishing spots. This may actually work out perfectly. Are we even utilising that? We are. That's the only trouble. Because that is providing a lot of production for us. We've completed the world's first circumnavigation. Beautiful. And free error score there. And I think we'll definitely hit a golden age in the next era. Lining up for that quite well. Let's use this guy and then finish off the camp with that warrior. And no more barbarians to worry about for the time being.
Our treasury is filled with gold, and I think it could be wise to make an investment. Perhaps we could expand our military.
That is another barbarian camp destroyed and more error score. Yeah, I think getting some warriors would not necessarily be a bad idea. Just in case Egypt wants to start attacking us. Egypt has decided to put a settlement all the way up here though. Maybe just to get access to these horses.
The ascent to the highest story is by stairs, and at their side are water engines, by means of which persons, appointed expressly for the purpose, are continually employed in raising water from the Euphrates into the garden.
That is the Hanging Gardens. Added to our civilization. Very nice. So now here, I am very tempted to get that commercial hub. I think it's a pretty damn good place to have one. Otherwise, it's focusing on building a military, really. Or I guess we could push for the library. Let's get the library built. We'll exploit the production while we have it, and I think I'll sort of wait and then build the commercial district just there. These guys, they can just fortify until healed. This one can promote. At Otatarapa. What do we want to build now, since we just built ourselves a settler? Thinking a library is not a bad idea. As for this settler, where is he going to go? So over here would be pretty decent for growing the settlement fast, but if we want to actually get some production, then over here might be a good idea. Maybe settling on the stone is pretty nice. If we get access to pearls, that is a luxury resource that will help us out with amenities. Then we could maybe build a harbour in between the pearls and the crabs. We also get access to horses eventually. What about in the other direction or further down here? Like, I was thinking here might be a nice idea because there are a lot of resources, like the whales. You got the silver there, got some copper. So I don't know. Bonus resources aren't that great though. Things like copper and the deers, they're not fantastic. Things that you really want to push for are luxury resources, since they give you amenities. And strategic resources, since they give you like the resource you need to build stuff. I think going for a settlement up here is not necessarily a bad idea. Let's do it. I think this tile is so good because it does give us access to fresh water, and so the housing's pretty nice. Farming might be a bit slow, but otherwise it'd be fine. And since we keep getting threatened by Cleopatra, I might actually just start whacking out a bunch of warriors and stuff. Do need some more builders actually soon. That is something I could definitely build, because there's some wheat here to improve. We've also got other resources elsewhere that do need improving. Like this silver, for example. So yeah, after we've got the library, I will pop out a worker.
Set your course by the stars, not by the lights of every passing ship.
The harbour is now available. And depending on whether or not a harbour would be worth getting over a commercial hub, I might build that first. Harvesting of stone. Do I want to get that? I guess we could. Let's continue. And welcome back to our galley that has made it the entire way around the world. It only took them hundreds of years to do it, but they got back. Our warriors are good to go. Let's just get them onto the water. One can keep exploring up the coast. Very unlikely that the city-state will take our settler, so we'll just carry on with him for now. Yeah, let's have a look at the harbour. So this would be, yeah, +4. So building the harbour first would be a better idea. Also, it doesn't remove our production. I think I'm going to build the harbour first. And then we'll build the commercial district between the science and so on. Be a pretty good setup actually. Very strong setup. I forgot about Shaka. Shaka's living up here somewhere. We've got Victoria at the very top. guess what we could do with the galley is just set it on explore, if we can do that. Yeah, auto exploration. See what we can buy with some of this gold. I would buy slingers, but we're going to have to upgrade them as soon as we get archery. Could also buy the monuments, because our culture is not exactly going up very quickly.
The opportunity has arrived for a change into a new and more powerful system of government. Let us strengthen our identity and enact more policies to govern our people.
Divide
nice.
and rule, a sound motto. Unite and lead, a better one.
We've unlocked the option of 3 different governments: autocracy, oligarchy, and classical republic. Autocracy is good for production versus wonders and +1 to all yields for each government building and palancia or Palacina city. Okay, that gives us 2 military slots, 1 economic slot, and a wildcard slot. Then we've got oligarchy. All melee, anti-cavalry, and naval melee class units gain +4 combat strength and +20% unit experience. So this is a pretty good one for being aggressive early on, although the 2 military slots can also help you out with that. Then we have classical republic. All cities with district receive +1 housing, +1 amenities, and +15% great person points. Honestly, this might be better for us right now, since we are lacking amenities, and therefore having the districts, like all of the science districts, will help us out. So, yeah, I think this will help us out in the short term. Classical Republic. So we've got +50% production towards settlers. We are going to probably get rid of that. We'll whack in the urban planning. And I'm probably going to get the +30% production towards builders. In the diplomatic policies, then we'll get charismatic leaders, or leader, +2 influence points per turn towards earning city-state envoys, because we haven't got any envoys to send just yet. The other one's pretty useless. And then the wildcard policy, I think we'll probably get one of these, maybe the production towards ancient and classical era melee, anti-cavalry and ranged units, so that we can build some warriors nice and quickly, or maybe some archers and stuff. We are 30 out of 40. We need 41 and above in order to get a golden age. Let's get mysticism, and we can claim a great person. Great scientist. Triggers Eureka moment for 3 random technologies from the classical or medieval era. Sure.
Our dedication to the ways of science has attracted a great scientist to our civilization. I am certain we will be able to use them to benefit future scientific developments.
The good thing about this is, with our great scientist, we are going to be popping a lot of Eurekas, which gives us lots of error score, which will then lead to a golden age. So it's actually a pretty decent one for us to have. Now, in order to activate them, we need to move them into a science district. And there we go, we got horseback riding. Which other ones did we get? Education, machinery, buttress, and horse riding. That's not too bad. Okay. And you can see our error score's gone up to 35, so we'll push for that golden age. We're definitely going to settle on the stone, I think, since it does give us that extra housing. We don't have to build an aqueduct. Also, it will leave us then in range of the rice later on to boost our food output. I can't completely remember, but I think harbours and commercial hubs have the potential to increase our trade capacity. I think that's something they do. Found the city here. And we will get ourselves thinking probably a harbour. A harbour here is quite good. It might have been better to build the settlement on here actually, so that we could have built a harbour in between the three. That is 5 housing though. Actually, we might not be able to build a harbour here because of the cliffs. So I think I'll just push for a harbour there instead. That will mean that I'll probably end up having to put a commercial district here in order to get the most out of it. But that's okay. Our library is nearly finished.
Your Grace, we have obtained greater knowledge in the art of building static fortifications. Building walls around our cities will not only make them stronger against a foreign invader, but will also allow them to bombard nearby enemies.
Each of us is carving a stone, erecting a column, or cutting a piece of stained glass in the construction of something much bigger than ourselves.
Let's choose ourselves for research. We'll just finish off archery nice and quick. Right, at Otatarapa, we do have like spare places to use the government plaza, so I am tempted to plop that down. Trying to think where it would be a good idea. Maybe next to the campus. But otherwise we could just go harbour on this tile here. We could get a commercial hub here. And then maybe also the government plaza here. Would give us adjacency bonuses for both the science district and the commercial hub. It does give an increase of +1 to the adjacency bonuses of being earned by any adjacent district. So yeah, I think here would be a pretty good idea. Now for our trade, shall we continue trading with Swinet? Could trade with our own settlements and get ourselves some production. I think the cash is fine. Not too concerned about increasing the religion. I'm tempted to put that warrior on to automatic exploration, honestly. But we'll just leave it for now. Put it on alert. Okay, let's carry on.
My liege, we have an envoy at our disposal. We can use the envoy to gain favor with the city-state. becoming friendly with a city-state neighbor can be greatly beneficial to our civilization.
So what we're probably going to do
shot
is
an
save
arrow
that
into the air.
envoy.
It fell to earth. I knew not where. I like to say I practice militant mysticism. I'm absolutely sure of some things that I don't quite know.
Not sure we want to change any of our policies. We don't really want the great points per turn. I guess the great scientist points per turn is not too bad. Let's go and place that in the wildcard policy slot. Because we are going to be getting quite a few great scientists, and that is going to push us ahead very quickly. Go for drama and poetry, so we unlock the theatre district. And like I already mentioned, we're not going to place our envoy just yet, because if we save it and then change our policies, we can get basically extra envoys for free. So we're just going to chill out for now, not do too much more. We are doing relatively well, I think. Surprised how much diplomatic favour Frederick had then. Pretty crazy. Opango has finished its settler. Would a harbour go down well? Maybe here, next to the science district. I think I'm going to get that builder built though. And we'll build another builder at our capital. I just got to find a place to actually take this settler. They're actually recommending us to go here. I think that's a good idea though, since I'll probably cover the cotton with Otatara anyway. Kind of feeling like down here might be a good idea just to get the whale luxury resource. Although if you're just using one settler to get like one amenity, I don't think that's worth it. You'd need to probably get 2 amenities from one settler in order for it to be worth it. The only other reason to go down here might be so that we get the iron strategic resource, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's good or not, because all of this land is pretty trash. If we put the yield icons back on, you can see that it really doesn't give us much. We would get the extra production from the tundra with woods on them, so those tiles would be absolutely awful, but everywhere else would be pretty bad. It might be worth having it down here though, just so that we can access the iron. So yeah, let's go down here. We'll deploy next to the river. That will give us extra housing. We'll gain access to these iron resource. And then we can, you know, build a canal through maybe. I mean, from there we would get to the bonus copper. We wouldn't get anything, we wouldn't get to the whales. But I guess we can get the whales from elsewhere eventually. Oh well. I think that's still a good spot so that we have the excess iron resource. Looks like the religion of Egypt is being spread into our lands. We have ourselves a harbour built. Good stuff. Get that builder made next. We're not short on amenities at the moment since we did change our government type. And it doesn't look like the natural disasters have really been affecting us too much, which is nice. I did put it up to 4 disaster intensity, so I am surprised that we haven't really been affected by it yet. Actually, settling on the silver is not a bad idea. Reason being is I would still be in range of both of the iron resources, and we'd be in range of the whales. Yeah, I think we'll do that. And I can just buy the iron resource tile once we have settled. We have 2 envoys. I'm going to wait until my next civic is complete and then we'll change the card and do it. I do have almost 700 gold. I might buy myself the libraries.
May I suggest that we construct a government building to memorialize and strengthen our current government?
Each time we construct a new government building, we unlock a legacy policy based on our currently chosen government. These legacy policies are powerful reminders of our civic past that we can carry forward into future governments. Right, we've got a Eureka.
No hour of life is wasted that is spent in the saddle.
And that's horseback riding complete. So we are now going to have a golden age, I believe. Cool. We will want to push towards apprenticeship. That requires us to build 3 mines though. We will probably end up doing that because we have... Actually, maybe not. I was going to say because we have like all these resources like the silver and the copper nearby, but we're only going to be building 1, which is this on this silver. Let's go towards construction. We can get ourselves the tower, which is our unique unit that I really wanted to show off with the Maori. Our builder here can move to the silver. And for our production, will we require another builder? Since we have 1 building here, this one's going to be upgrading the wheat. Can probably help out with improving resources around this settlement as well. So that will be enough. And I think we're all good. Yeah, this one can improve the silver, move up here, improve the incense. So next up, I think it may just be the commercial hub. Might take a little while longer since we are removing the forest area in order to build that. The Temple of Artemis. Is this worth building? Each camp, pasture and plantation improvement within 4 tiles of this wonder provides +1 amenity. Must be placed adjacent to camp improvements. That will give us +4 food and +3 housing. That would be a good thing to have where there are multiple camps. I guess an extra amenity because of deer is not too bad. And it's not going to take that long to build compared to other things. And the only thing I am concerned about is the fact that we are 5 out of 7 housing, so getting the granary in there sooner than later would be a decent idea. Right, audience chamber, what does this do? Give us +1 amenity and +4 housing in cities with governors, -2 loyalty in cities without governors, and awards 1 governor title. Unlocks the Republican Legacy Policy card. Capturing an enemy city grants 20% bonus production in all cities for 5 turns. An Ancestral Hall gives us +50% increased production towards settlers. New cities receive a free builder. Wow, that's quite nice. And awards +1 governor title. I think the Audience Chamber is probably the best one. Like, amenities are so damn important. I'm tempted to get Liang. So can construct a fishery improvement if adjacent to a sea resource. We have a lot of that going on, so I feel like we should appoint her to probably a Pango, or even to... Yeah, let's actually do it here. That would be the best place to put her. What was it that she gave us again? Guildmaster. All builders trained in city get +1 build charge. Then we'll go for aquaculture. And that way we can exploit all of the tiles around these resources. Which is really good. In terms of era progress, there are 21 to 41 turns until next era. Now we're going to settle on this silver. And Shaka says, I'm hearing talk that your people want to celebrate your rule. Nice job keeping them happy. Yeah, that's because we've been focusing on amenities. Amenities help us boost growth quite a lot. So our population will get really, really high. And your knowledge of the wheel has boosted considerably. That's good. And we can claim another great person. Another great scientist. Triggers the Eureka moment for mathematics and 1 random technology from the medieval era. Then we already have mathematics, so it might be worth passing on that. Yeah, we already have the mathematics Eureka. I think I might pass on that one. That would only give us 1 Eureka. It kind of seems pointless. So at Kapiti, what would be best to build first? Probably a harbour. We'll go for the harbour first. It may take a little while, but we'll have to wait until the population grows up. They would like some spare silver. They'll give us some gold for that. That is fine. Okay, our builder's good to go. Go and grab that wheat, and then we'll come down and improve the iron. This builder's going to go across and improve the crabs. Lato Pango. I think I'm just going to buy the library. And we will get ourselves a harbour going. Since the commercial hub is not as good. Do we have the library here? We do not. I might actually buy the granary at Otatarapa so that we have that extra housing available and I don't have to worry about it. And I don't forget as well. That's the other thing. We are taking that wheat, which is good. Help Opango grow quite quickly. Let's have the worker now come and head towards the iron. Probably just going to purchase that tile. So that that we can improve it sooner than later. And that will be actually another mine, won't it? And if we build one here, we get the Eureka for apprenticeship. So I guess I'll do that. And there's the crab upgrade. We can actually upgrade these crabs as well because we upgraded those crabs. Although Otatara Pa, I don't think we'll be able to utilize it just yet.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
So we now have access to the theatre square. This will help us with culture. And since we have got ourselves a new civic, I'm going to switch this over to Diplomatic League. And then what we're going to do is go to city-states, and we will put 1 in each of those, and that should give us 2 in each of those. Yeah, very nice. That's an easy way to double your envoys. Our next civic. Then we'll go towards the Great Library. Right, that's all of those built. Could also buy myself another builder, since I did use up that builder entirely. Builders will cost 280. I guess we're going to be waiting a little while. Although our gold per turn is going up by 35.8, which is really nice. And that's only going to get better when we go into a golden era. We could actually have this builder head back up, although I want him to build 2 mines, don't I? We've improved iron, which will give us a resource. Have we even unlocked water mills? Because construction requires a water mill to be built for the Eureka.
Resource may be essential for building certain military units, and they have begun to stockpile it for future use. We should manage our use of this resource to make the most of it.
They say that the people are drawn to the commercial hub of Te Hokianga Nui a Kupe just for the excitement of buying and selling the market. But the money is pretty good too. So we now have iron, and you can see we can stockpile up to 50. And we can sort of sell off that iron. But if we build anything that requires iron, it will take away a certain chunk of that. How it works at the moment. Well, Colossus might not be a bad idea. +1 trade route capacity. Grants a trader unit. Must be built on coast, adjacent to a land and a harbour district. +3 gold, +1 Great Admiral point per turn. They're saying that. I think I'm just going to build a market to boost our trade capacity. So yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier when saying that a harbour or commercial hub would increase our trade capacity. If you build the markets there, it does allow you to boost your trade capacity, and it's always useful. It's a great way to make lots of money very quickly. The lighthouse also does this, but it doesn't stack with the commercial hub, I don't believe. But I think getting the market's better than getting the lighthouse. For now, anyway. Since Opango's got a bigger population, I'm going to build a mine on this hill first, so we can exploit that. I want to buy my iron. We are going to refuse that.
The 4 building blocks of the universe are fire, water, gravel, and vinyl.
The Toa is available, finally, which is our unique unit. So can we upgrade to a Toa? We can. Who but the Maori could create the Toa, and who can possibly resist it? Here you go. Here's the Toa. And with that, guys, I'm going to end it here. That's going to be my preview look at Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. I'm actually really enjoying this playthrough. I may consider continuing it, but let me know what you guys think. It's probably going to be on the back burner a little bit compared to some of my other content, as I do have quite a bit planned for the channel. But for those of you who have always wanted to have a look into Civilization 6, hopefully this video has given you an idea of how it plays out. I did try and talk through most of the stuff as it happens. The UI is a bit overwhelming to begin with, but we've been slowly introduced to all of the different mechanics courtesy of the advisor. And I think we've got off to a relatively good start here. But that's all for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.